Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. You're on Room for Rewinds, and I'm not gonna say my name anymore. I honestly realized that it doesn't sound cool. So yes, on this Eddie Explained, we're doing a really fun one called My Best Friend's Exorcism. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this movie. I felt like the whole 80s, if you do anything in this like lake house 80s horror, I'm into it. And I must say, going in, I thought the movie was going to be, sort of like a horror comedy, but things really got serious. The entirety of the movie was really serious. It like poked on a lot of issues, and I must say I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm a girl, so teen drama, high school romance ish. No, there wasn't any romance. No, there wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't any romance, but teen drama, I'm totally into it. So you know what? I really enjoyed it. I mean, without wasting your time, baby, let's get right to it. The gnarly movie. Okay, that was bad. Let's just get to it.
So in the movie start, I honestly thought that this bird had something to do with this movie, but I was wrong. The movie's about Gretchen and Abby. They're on the telephone talking about, how they're going to miss each other because Gretchen is moving away. And they catch a ride together. They catch a ride to school, and we can tell now the era that it is the 80s. And they meet two of their friends, Margaret and Glee. And it seems like they are just really in tune with each other, but more Gretchen and Abby. And we can tell because after school, Gretchen and Abby hang out again, you know, eating yogurt and having conversations. They go to the lake house and they smoke some weed and chill in the sun. And I love this scene, honestly. And I love the song that's playing on the background, actually. And Glee asks Margaret about this abandoned building, and then she actually describes it as a place where satanic worshipping had went down. And they stupidly decide to play the Ouija board, and there is an entity, and when they ask the entity to tell its name, it says no, and they ask what it wants, and it just spells out MIN. But while they are not looking, it spells the last letter, which is E, while they're being scared by Wallace, Margaret's boyfriend. And he's further annoys them and then gives them LSD, and they go skinny dipping in the pool at night. Cliche. Somebody asks Abby to get inside the pool, and then she refuses, and they say, we don't care if you have zits all over your face, which upsets her. They take a walk together, and they end up in this abandoned building. And while they're there, they see this really creepy structure, and the structure has an eye, and it opens, and it scares them. And while they're trying to run away, Gretchen falls, and is left behind. And then Abby is able to make it outside, but then Gretchen gets trapped in the house. And then she meets up with Glee and Margaret and actually explains to them that, Gretchen is still trapped in that house, and they find her and she's distraught and asks, like, why did you leave me? And she said, I thought you were right behind me. She could hear voices, at the back. And then the Lennon brothers, they come and perform for them at school, and Gretchen is looking a mess, honestly. She's affected. After an argument, she vomits on Wallace, Margaret's boyfriend, and, starts having these episodes where, she starts seeing things that she thinks that are moving, and she's, very, very disturbed in this sense. And after being denied access to go to the toilet, she actually takes a pee in the classroom little bin, those little paper bins in front of the class. And then Abby goes to check on her. She looks much worse. She tells Abby that someone grabbed her in the house, and every night that person comes in her room and sits on her chest. And clearly here she is talking about an entity or, something. But Abby now informs her parents that she might be raped, and her parents then make it to be her fault. She tells the sister Kathleen, who actually threatens her and tells her she might take away her scholarship. She calls Glee to inform that she thinks Wallace actually raped Gretchen, but Wallace is not too happy about that, kicks her in the gut. That's so mean. And then the next day, we can see here's Gretchen looking worse. And then, she devises a plan to dump her in the water, exposing her zit infested face, I guess. And now we can see now she's over the edge and it completely takes over her. And then, she turns up the next day looking better and looking very bright, and she offers Margaret this shake that's supposed to make her lose weight or make her lose appetite. And Margaret is getting worse. She's taking the shake too much. She's too skinny. And then convinces Glee that Margaret is actually has a crush on her. And when she confronts her about this, Margaret laughs in Glee's face and Glee cries. While crying, he offers her a brownie, but it turns out that the brownie has nuts and Glee is allergic to nuts. And then as she's gasping, Gretchen offers no help, instead says, "You're gay, you need God's help. God hates gays," and she's just, oh my God, she's mean. And then Abby goes to check on Margaret, who looks terrible, by the way. She hasn't been eating for days. And then a worm comes out of her, and the worm actually tries to reach for the food that Abby brought her. And the dog actually bites the worm, and Abby is able to pull it out. So now when she tells Glee about this, Glee is like, "Oh my God, she's trying to kill us. You need to stop her, Abby." And then she meets with one of the Lennon brothers, who actually diagnoses Gretchen to have been possessed by a demon. And then she's like, "Okay, what are we gonna do about that?" And then, after a deal, he says he will do the exorcism. And then Gretchen is drugged and tied to a bed, and here we go. They perform the exorcism, but things change after she's been poured salt on. She's crying, she's in pain, and, starts doing the whole exorcism pose thing that they usually do. Yeah, cliche. Anyway, and then after that, she tries to pour like hot water on her, and then Abby stops her. After stopping her, the demon now turns into his mother. And, he knows this is not real, but, she starts saying hurtful things and her face catches fire. This scares this guy, and then he actually runs out and wishes Abby luck, and she says, "You know what, you got this." And then after poking, Gretchen, who's, now possessed, she goes out and she hides out in the place where she was possessed. And then after some nice touching words about your friendship and everything, she wakes up and she vomits. And the vomit now starts materializing into this ugly demon. But, after a couple of fights, you know how it is in these movies, and then she's able to burn the demon using alcohol. And they say goodbye to each other because, like I told you in the beginning, Gretchen is moving away, and they say they will never forget each other.
So that was my ending explain of my best friend's exorcism. But like I said, the movie was just like so weird and unconventional. Number one, they're at a Catholic school and she couldn't get help there. She was a girl that goes to Catholic school and is being taught by a nun. Cannot get an exorcism, like couldn't get help or couldn't be noticed, or the diagnosis had to come from like a weird gym believers in Christ, guy. But then I found that to be interesting. Number two, another thing that was really interesting is that it wasn't the exorcism itself, I think it was just her friend and her love and her reminding her of how much she loved her actually exorcised the demon. And I thought that was really cool, just like it just stood up to its name, like my best friend's exorcism. And yeah, like I said, I really thought it was really nice and very unconventional, and it was I mean, they nailed it. And having all my favorite tracks in the background there, my 80s favorite tracks really really helped as well. So yeah, that was my ending explained. And what are your comments? What did you think of my best friend's exorcism? Did you think it was cool? Did you think it was not cool? Just leave your comments down below and like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. So yeah, you're on Room for Rewinds. It was nice sitting here with you. Bye.